Alrighty, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. This is the Gamer Curry podcast. So it's my name is Sam. We got Samip here, and we're just two friends who enjoy talking about video games. We've been gaming since we were really young,
Mhm.
known each other for a long time, and childhood friends. So today we're going to be talking a lot about Cyberpunk and the new release that they had, the beautiful disaster. You gonna get right into it, Samip?
Yes. So you know, this launch was pretty, I would say, pretty wild. Um, to put it to put it plainly, it was really bad. Like it was honestly not something that anyone was expecting. It was also in my expectations. I didn't think it was the greatest launch at all of any game that I've played at like looking forward to any AAA game that I've looked forward to playing. I did not expect it to get this bad. Um, let's start with the
This
good
is the
though.
worst AAA launch of all time. It's actually amazing how awful it
Yeah.
was.
Like I was struggling to put it in words just for you guys how bad it was because I couldn't think of a good phrase for it. Um, so the good. Okay, so let's start with the good side. Samir, what do you think is like the good that's come out of this like so far?
Okay, so when you look at the good, I guess let's first talk about what I enjoyed about the game. Okay, the world building was absolutely amazing. The environment that they set up in this game, Cyberpunk 2077, is absolutely amazing. So you actually feel, really immersed. The problems that occur during that immersion process, with this whole culture you're building, all these different street gangs, this whole environment you're building, is the ambiance is really interrupted when you have these like random ass glitches that are happening, like back in just like every few minutes you run into just some of the craziest glitches. Some of them are really hilarious. I mean, no lie. Well, the majority of them, I would say like 95% of them are like really entertaining. But the issue is that you run into some of these mission breaking glitches and bugs. They just just are a little frustrating, and that interferes with this whole experience that they're trying to,
Yeah.
I guess, market.
Um, excuse me. So I agree with you on that. Um, very much so. I've heard and I've played myself, so I haven't completely finished the game. I've gotten to the very beginning of the main story. Like I got to act two, I believe. That's what you would. That's the point that I got to. Um, and I have about 28 hours in the game, and so what I've done so far is a lot of side quests. Samir, I was just mentioning this to him just a little bit ago. I've been doing so many side quests, and I feel like every side quest that I've done is for Regina, and like every single thing that I've come across. And from like just that little thing, it's just like I feel like it's just repeated quests reskinned over and over again. They're a little unique in some sense in stories. Uh, there are a few side quests I've come across, um, but my point is, um, I've heard that the story is amazing. I've heard that it's really emotional. Samir said it was raw. Like it makes you like think on life choices and stuff. This is from what I've heard from other people
Yeah.
too. Um, and like I haven't finished the story just because I ran into so many bugs and glitches that it breaks the immersion. One of the things is the AI is really horrible. And I'm assuming some of the people that may be watching or are going to watch this later will probably know that it's some of the worst AI seen in any video triplet modern AAA video game today. Um,
Yeah.
like there were so many promises, right, that came about that were not delivered on. And that so far, I would say the good thing that's come out is like, yes, the story is pretty solid from what I've heard. And so far, what I've played, it's pretty good. It's really good. Um, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. Probably not anytime soon because I want to wait and let them patch and fix everything for maybe a while. Um, that, in my opinion, is what's good. Now, what is the bad side? What do you think, Samir?
So there are a lot of issues with this game. As I guess let's just take a small step back, and then I guess I'll hit on that. I beat the game like a few days ago, and I think we both have high end PCs that we're running this game off of. So that obviously is going to bias our view and our experience up a little bit. So it can only get worse. That's I guess that's full disclosure here. Uh, we're both PC gamers. So I wrote up a quick Medium article talking about how I felt about this game, and with regards to some of the bad things. It's not a good look for this game studio. Like you said, they were advertising this video game to be like this really free experience. So when you're playing the game, you'll have all these different choices, and it's going to modify. These choices you make at the beginning of the game will modify the end result you'll experience at the end of the game, and all these things. But it seemed really like they were operating on this very short timetable, and they didn't have the time to implement a lot of these story element features that they had initially advertised out. So the acting is absolutely amazing. The world building is great. It's a really raw and rugged environment. Okay, this video game is not for kids. This video game is for it has very mature themes. It just talks about a variety of different issues that it's like San Andreas on steroids in terms of the themes and the dark, like raw and rugged environment. Any of the GTA games like just on steroids. So it's I guess in that element, in that perspective. So it's just I guess it's unfortunate that they oversold a lot. The
No,
life path especially.
I
I
I
mean, as far as I've read, it doesn't matter what life path you choose at the beginning.
I agree with you on all those points. There were a lot like, um, I got the game, and the couple days after like getting the game in its initial release, all this stuff started pouring out, and you heard all about the situation, like in the internal situation and all that coming out of CD Projekt and CD Projekt Red, the company itself that developed the game. And my initial opinion was like, it can't be that bad. So I played the game. Overall, visually, it looks good. Remember Samir mentioned the game we're running on a high-end PC, so we don't have the same experience as console users have. The only thing that we have seen so far, and we're going to get to it, is the videos and representation that other players have posted online of what we have seen. So that is our perception of your guys' review of
For
the game and how
console.
you played it. Yeah. And so, piggybacking off of that, so the thing was, there were so many mentions of features and stuff in this game that were not like there at all, or they were completely broken. Like Samir mentioned, like the branching, the quests, not just the branching quests, but like I would say, the branching effect or the butterfly effect that they kind of like,
They
they
hinted at.
talked about. Yeah,
They
the
were like, "Oh, one
butterfly.
of these minor choices will, influence you.
Yeah,
You're not gonna have the same playthrough." It wasn't as bad as like No Man's Sky, but it was like it really. I feel like they're kind of overselling it with even the story elements. Not to mention, the graphical, the rendering and then the game design, part of it, the technical issues.
no, totally agree with you. Um, it was so most times. This is a little tangent, but it's related. Most times, developers tend to come out, show the game, and like slightly hype it. This one, it felt like it was being hyped up really, really long. Like
Yeah.
for 8 years, I mean, it was not 8 years development. I mean, the last 4 years, 5 years has probably been hard development. But
Hmm.
the last 2 years and leading up to it this year with like Night City Wire and developers on Twitter coming out and saying
The
like, yeah,
PR is like it's so much PR.
yeah,
Their Twitter page is like absolutely. I mean, they've handled their Twitter and like all their social media stuff spectacularly.
yeah,
So it's just like it's not a good one-to-one match. Okay, between this advertising that's been awesome, great advertising compared to the product that you release. And at the end of it, you can have the best advertising or the best marketing in the world, but if you don't release a good product, I mean, the gamers aren't going to stay with you. You're not gonna be able to maintain that fan base. And
yeah.
that's the issue here.
And the thing is, basically, the bad, in my opinion, is that it was oversold, misrepresented very badly.
Mhm. I mean,
This,
what kind of bugs have you? Sorry, what kind of bugs have you experienced? So I have
uh,
like lighting bugs, I have any path bugs, teleport bugs, and I have like video clips I posted on our YouTube channel about this.
yeah,
Did you experience like I had two mission breaking bugs?
wow.
How about you? What was your?
So
I guess
far,
it's just like bugs that interfered with me completing the mission.
Yeah, no, I get it. So my immersion breaking bugs is any RPG I play, the first playthrough I do is a stealth playthrough. I love playing stealth, and I love
Mm.
that kind of play. The problem was this is a very small complaint, and I know that there's mods out there to fix it now, but like the idea to dodge with WASD by double tapping it, and let's say you're playing the game and you're moving your character around, like as you're crouched to silently kill someone, and instead when you accidentally are trying to press D 2 times in a row to move closer to them so you can take them out, you dodge into them and you alert everyone. And that happens so many times. I know that there's mods to
Yeah.
fix it. I did download a mod to fix that. That was one annoying one
But
until,
you shouldn't have to fix that with a mod. That should
yeah,
just be like a key binding fix or something like that.
which,
I think throughout the whole game I tried to avoid using any of that, like the double, the
yeah.
double tap with the for the dodge mechanic. I just like avoided using the dodge mechanic. I think I used it like once or twice, and I was like, yeah, this is stupid. So I was just like, I'm just gonna not
Yeah.
use it.
Um, Another one. This is very nitpicky. I'm very picky about my UX settings. Like, let's say I like the
Mm,
HUD to be shrunk, and the thing was, you can't resize the HUD, which is really annoying. But one thing that I didn't like was that the FOV only went to 100, and it still felt very narrow to me. And I know a lot of people are going to complain, "Oh yeah, it's fine. It's not bad." Dude, for me, being on PC, I've been spoiled with a lot of games where you can slide the FOV to like 150, where it's like wide and you can see a lot more. And so I had to get another mod to fix that. And so that didn't hinder my experience. It actually enhanced it way more. So I played it after that. But here comes the worst part now is playing stealth. Dude, I fell through the world so many times. It was
I
annoying.
didn't fall through. I
Yeah.
didn't fall through the world, luckily.
I don't know
And I was
why.
like playing a lot of stuff.
I remember this. There was a area that I got to, and it was a bunch of trailers, and there was a incline basically to let like trucks to get up and deliver like goods and stuff. But there was like a bunch of NPCs that you had to take out in that area, and I go up the incline, and immediately as soon as I reached the incline, there was a trash bag in the corner, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys might have heard. The trash bags are dangerous when you get close to them because they can burst and they can shoot you across the map. So instead, what happened is I got to a trash bag and this thing launches me downwards, and I go through the world, and you can see you can see all of Night City as you're falling down, and it was funny, but dude, it sucked because I don't think I actually saved after that. Like I can't remember if I
Oh,
did or not.
geez, you have to go through it again. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
so
some of I feel like they almost intentionally like made sure that people had extra checkpoints in this game just because
yeah.
they're like, yeah, you might deal with a lot, several glitches.
Yes. I okay, so there was a bug that a lot of people are mentioning is that the game, it has a lot of dildos in it, and like people would get the dildos as loot. Like, and I'm just like, that never happened to me. Like, I never had that issue. But to touch on that, the reward system and the looting system didn't seem very like rewarding. It didn't feel like you were getting like good stuff like all the time. I mean, there were cool, unique weapons. Um, those are just like if you have my complaints on it. But like another bug that I had was so I don't want to spoil anything. It was part of the main quest, but basically it blocked me from progressing in the main quest, and I had to do like a workaround to get around it. Um,
Mm.
very what? Okay, and then on the
Oh wait, so you
flips,
had a main quest like on the main story.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, and so I had to look it up, and I had to like do a workaround to like fix the issue,
Hmm.
and it ended up working. And I don't want to talk about it because I know people are playing the game and stuff, but
Yeah.
um, so other than that, very cool Easter egg that I really did like, and I came across naturally was Hideo Kojima is in
Yeah.
the game. Very very cool. Um, there's a lot of Easter eggs. I haven't found them all. But
Like it
that's
was just.
what's up.
Well, I guess what's frustrating about this game is that it has so much potential, and it's clear. You can see it in your when your playthrough. Okay, you're
Yeah,
like, damn, this is amazing. Like, I haven't seen this in any video game I've ever played. But then it's like some of these basic things that other video games, like, you should know this. Like, this is not their first, rodeo. They've had, how many releases? Like four releases prior to this, or
Yeah,
several like really major releases. So they should have had this shit down. So
yeah,
it's really just weird and concerning that they have such major project management issues, during this, I guess, COVID, era they were dealing with, that it's disrupted their processes so much.
yeah.
I think that they're chalking it up to leadership and management, but that's like a really big deal.
It is.
I would argue like that's like one of your most important elements of your video game studio, especially if you're operating at this level. So this is really concerning to me, and I guess going right into it, a lot of other entities like Sony and Microsoft, they're picking up on this. Like Sony just pulled it from their PlayStation store,
Mhm.
which I don't remember the last time they pulled such a major video game from their store, especially for the reasons they're pulling it, because of these glitches and just mass player just I guess anger,
Yep.
amongst even the fan base.
Um, dude, dude, you know it has to be really bad when um Sony pulls it from your store. Like like I don't know, like I okay, so there were a lot more broken games prior to this. I.e. Fallout 76, No Man's Sky. They didn't have these issues. But I feel like part of the reason, and from what I've heard, I don't know if you heard this either, Samir, but CD Projekt actually was contacted by Sony before they pulled it off, and they agreed to pull it off the store. Now, I don't think it was CD Projekt's decision; it was Sony's decision,
Yeah,
because
that's what it seems like.
Microsoft, yes, Microsoft hasn't pulled it off their store; it's still on there. But on the other hand, Microsoft put promotion for CD Projekt Red. They're like partnered with them basically, so that's probably a reason
Hmm.
that they haven't pulled it off. Um, and so I don't know, man. Like it's pretty bad. Like if you get pulled off, okay. To add on to this, and I know you're going to agree with everyone probably watching. Um, it's a holiday season, and PlayStation
Hmm.
this generation has crushed it in sales. They have sold over 100 million units, and
Hmm.
pulling it off the PlayStation Store in the holiday peak season when people are buying gifts and sharing gifts and giving gifts to other people are also are probably going to look forward to playing Cyberpunk are not going to be able to buy it. You can buy the disc version, but with the pandemic and everything, most of the stuff is probably going to be digital sales. Digital sales have the last 10
Yeah.
years have exponentially increased. Uh, this is going to kill profits for like them for a very long time. Um,
Yeah, even going forward, because it's
yeah,
like, okay, not only it's going to be gone for this period of time, but when it comes back on,
yeah.
like, this is just such bad marketing. Like all the great stuff they've done with the marketing, this disaster release is really washing a lot of that away. New York Times, they released their own article. Okay, New York Times is going in on
Yeah.
CD Projekt Red and this whole game release and this disaster. Young, yeah, he talks about this on his YouTube channels. What we're talking about is just the sales. The sales are going to take a huge hit, and the stock already dropped for CD Projekt Red so much.
Yeah.
The investors are not happy. So, like we said, CD Projekt Red every, I guess, month or every few weeks. It depends on, I guess, what's going on. They had an emergency investor call, and they released a transcript as well as an MP3 file on their website, so anyone can visit and you can check it out and you can read through these questions that various investors have to the company. And one of the questions was is like, what would you have done differently? And they really didn't have, it seems like, a good answer on what they're really going to change going forward. Now, I think one of these people, they asked a very good question, is was it a staffing issue? If you had had more staff, like let's say you had 100 more staff, would that have resolved the problem? Or let's say 200 more staff? And it seemed like that really wasn't the issue. Based on the leadership, said they wouldn't have mattered if we had 200 more people working for us. It still wouldn't, like we still have had the same results. Like it's kind of crazy, right? Because it felt like this was I guess an issue like you didn't have enough testers. Like that was one concern that some people had raised during this COVID time, that people working from home, it might be more difficult to I guess have that testing done. But the answer that you hear consistently is that they did not focus on the console version of the game. That's really weird because they made statements publicly saying that the console version would match, in terms of the quality, and you should expect a high quality from this console version of this video game. It was to that effect.
Yep.
So this was a really big mismatch from what they said publicly and what they were actually doing. And plus, it's like, don't you listen to your employees when they tell you this game is not ready for release, especially your testers? You should
Yeah.
be reaching out to them first. You should do focus groups and say, "Hey, what do you think about this game?" before you release a game like this.
Yeah. So much has to do, and now we're moving in towards the end of this topic's discussion, which is the ugly side and the outcome that's going to come in. Before we do, Axel, I appreciate the comment. We do love you as well. Appreciate the kind comment. Thank you for watching and thank you for being here. So now, before we go to the ugly, this is also in conjunction to CD Projekt, is the GOG store and the
Mm.
controversy that's surrounding it at the moment. And the game, I think it was last year, Devotion. It came out on Steam.
Taiwanese company
Yep,
made this game.
yep, and
Indie
indie company.
developer.
So we also were going to mention that that is our indie company of the podcast too as well. So we encourage you to check them out. They have other games on Steam that you can purchase and you can take a look at to just support them. Because as we're about to discuss, it is a bit of a bad situation for them at the moment, as well as a bad look on a more worse look on CD Projekt. So everyone knows GOG, or Good Old Gaming, is a platform or a platform service where you can purchase games just like Steam on the PC, and it's all DRM free. So if you buy the game, you own it. You don't need a platform. It's not binded. You can play the game and download it. Now, CD Projekt is the owner of that. That is part of their thing. They encourage people to buy their games on their store because they get the profits on it. Um, you know, and I remember like a year ago, I ended up buying Cyberpunk on there. Now, CD Projekt at the moment doesn't seem to be following with the idea of gamers, like like
Gaming culture.
yeah, the gaming culture. They were on a high pedestal. They were like the crown child for the gaming community. Like everyone should be like the CD Project. Make games like The Witcher, release free DLC, make an expansion that's $15 with like 10 hours of gameplay, which is a full on game.
Yeah, it's like this
Yeah.
culture for gamers. Like what you're doing is for gamers. You're putting gamers first.
Yep.
These qualities, and we're not seeing that anymore.
Exactly.
It's really
And
weird.
now GOG, as you all know, is a platform, and the game Devotion that Red Candle made is not being listed on GOG because it violates certain rules that we don't want to like. Yeah, go ahead, Samir.
So the video game, you can look in the history. You can look this up. There was this controversy regarding an Easter egg that they had, included in the video game. Now, this Easter egg was very controversial, and it basically made fun of the president of China. It was
Yep.
very unfortunate. They apologized, because there was outrage that happened in China around this video game. It was pulled from a lot of stores and it was effectively banned in China. Now, because of this impact that it could have on the profit margin, on the profit and the sales in, let's say, China, Steam and as well as other platforms, they have basically taken the game off of their store. And I think with Steam, the situation, I just haven't really confirmed this, but my reading of the situation for Steam is that the game studio, Red Candle, had actually pulled it from Steam themselves.
Yep.
And then they basically had this agreement with GOG, with this platform that CD Projekt Red has maintained and built,
Hmm.
that this game would be released on their platform. It'd be a special release this year, I think this month of this year, and it's unfortunate that they've, I think, backtracked completely after the agreement was, I guess, assumingly signed and made public. So a lot of people were excited about seeing this video game there, and it's unfortunate that in the tweets, this communication that we're seeing from their PR department, it seems like other YouTubers have talked about this. is like they're really attributing it to outrage that they were experiencing from gamers, as opposed to really, I guess, a business interest. Business interest seems like the sensible explanation. That's perfectly fine because at the end of the day, you need to consider your business, and you've had this disastrous release. That's understandable. But I think that level of transparency that we may have anticipated or expected before, we're not seeing it anymore. This is unfortunately, I think EA levels of I guess buffoonery.
Yes, 100%. Um, you basically talked about the whole thing. That's basically the gist of the whole situation. Um, so adding on to it, I encourage you guys to look into the indie studio Red Candle and support them. Um, they are a fine studio. If you look up their games, they have some pretty solid games, and we just wanted to mention that because it's all related with CD Projekt and all the things we're discussing. And right now, CD Projekt is not in the best light, and the best thing we can do is to support the developers. So the thing is, I know a lot of you guys must be frustrated with the bugs, the glitches, the situation itself, and um, the game overall, and certain things surrounding CD Projekt. You were not these probably weren't your expectations at all to what was going to happen. You were expecting another Witcher like experience, or maybe more enhanced, where like they release the game, you get free DLC, everyone's happy. Um, but we're on the worst part. We're in the worst situation at the moment, and being in the worst situation, you can't go out of your way and blame the developer that was creating the game. The developer probably had the best intentions in mind to create the best product that they want. Um, and the problem and the ugly side of it now is that all of this PR, all of this disaster is almost most certainly to do with the management and the board of directors at CD Projekt. Um, and Samir, do you want to talk more about that? I think your mic's muted, Samir.
Okay, I think this is associated with some of the things that I guess we briefly mentioned earlier. If you look at the transcripts, that's what you see the public statement is, and it actually makes sense because I find it really hard to believe that software developers, the game developers who made this video game, programmed it, did not highlight some of these concerns. And it seems like those concerns were highlighted. Even the video game testers sort of like let them know. But I think that they kind of hand waved them away. And I think the other thing that a lot of other people have also brought up is there was a profit incentive, I think, amongst a lot of people in the company who are at management levels.
Mhm.
Because if you remember, they basically linked the bonuses that, and basically this reward structure, the bonuses was linked to their game reviews. So you're wondering, okay, why did they not release the console versions, you know before this release date, to review copies of the console version to, let's say, reviewers on YouTube, all across the internet? Why didn't they do that? Well, this is the reason, because the bonuses that they had were linked to their reviews that they were getting. And so I think it's just unfortunate that management should have really anticipated that this could be basically be a conflict that we could run into and really result in I think a disaster that we're seeing right now.
Mhm.
It seems like it was a contributing factor, but at the same time, the CEO, when you're running a company, especially a company that's public and on this like stock exchange that CG Project Red is on, the responsibility falls onto the shoulders of the CEO of the company
Mhm.
and those high level leaders. So I think they really need to answer to their fan base and really say, okay, what are you going to do that's going to change going forward? That's going to bring basically it's so difficult when you lose the confidence of as many fans as CD Project Red had prior to this disastrous release, which is like only, come on, this is like only like, I guess, when was the game released? Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's
I've never seen
10th.
such a sharp drop
Yeah,
for like a major video game company in 2 weeks.
yeah. It's a it's a
Like,
very bad drop, and I really, really, I like CD Project Red, and I really hope they come back from this. I hope they can redeem themselves. There's room for always coming back, but now, man, like they have stained themselves with this. Like it's really
mhm,
bad. Um, that's just my opinion. Maybe there's other people that have their opinion on it. There's a lot of people that are out there saying like, "Oh yeah, it's because you have a PS4 and it's old hardware." Okay, go back and look at the games that have come out this year on the PS4 and look at how good they still look. Look at The Last of Us. Look at
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima.
You're
Look
paying
at
like $60 for a video game.
yeah,
You expect it to function without you following through the world and your game crashing 4 or 5 times in one playthrough. That's absolutely ridiculous.
yeah, and not even to mention like the worst part is like developers are very good with hiding frame rates issues in games by masking it with different techniques on the software. And this game is so poor in that for the base consoles that you can go online and watch people's videos to where the frame rate on the base PS4 drops to almost 10 to 17 frames per second in just some parts of the game. It looks ridiculously it just looks ridiculous. Like it just looks extremely poor. Some of the parts of the game like don't even load in on time. It looks like a PS2 game in some aspects, and it's just wild to see a game in 2020 have this many issues on a launch when it was the most anticipated game in the last decade. Like literally, it's in this last 10 years and from 2010 to 2020. This game was announced in 2012. It was teased in 2013. Didn't hear anything until what, like 2017, 2018, and then we got the like hype build up to 2020. And this year has been bad for a lot of people. Pandemic, all the stuff that's been going on. And this was the thing a lot of people might have been looking forward to. And it's just on top of that 2020 disaster list now.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with some of the fanboys who are siding with CG Project Red in this. I think that they did this intentionally. They did it for the content. YouTubers, and Twitch streamers, we need something to do. And this is the best thing you could do is make this glitchy ass game, this disastrous release. So these people have content for months. I'm looking forward to Internet Historian's new video coming out on
Yeah.
this video game. The Fallout 76 video was absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. He did. So Internet Historian, be on the lookout for his new video on Cyberpunk 2077.
Man,
The fall of CD Project Red.
dude, it's man. I did not like it's just like thinking about it, like how bad it's gotten, dude. It's just like you would not expect a company that released The Witcher 3, one of the most praised games of almost all time, just because of the quality, the depth, the dedication, to release a game like this, like after like setting such high expectations. I thought, at least maybe the game wasn't going to be the most game changing like in the world. Like it's not like, oh yeah, this has changed, like it's revolutionary. Um but man, like this is like way beyond that. Like it's a like 10 steps back from like what everyone's expecting. Um the game, okay guys, like the game, the story, phenomenal. Like I am excited to finish that, play that.
Yeah, the writing is
Yeah,
great. The writing reminds you. I mean, I didn't play The Witcher 3, but from what I've heard from you, the side missions are like almost as good, if not better, than the main storyline. Which a lot of these side missions are. They're really interesting and just mind-boggling. But I think you and I highlighted this. The glitches interfere with the immersion. Okay, when you're in this great mission and they're talking about these like really just brutal themes and just really raw and rugged, and then you fall through the level, or like somebody's like phone and somehow magically shifts over so it's in the middle of their head, just like crazy, or like you see characters floating. It just interferes with the immersion, and
yeah,
those are some of those details, those fine details that really matter with a world that is so detail oriented. Okay, this is a really high like graphics intensive video game. These details matter, and it just interferes with that immersion.
definitely agree with you. And to add on, and before we finish off with this topic of CD Projekt and Cyberpunk, it's I wish there was some good news coming out of this, but it just keeps getting worse. Um, just this morning, I texted Samir. I watched a video from Legacy Kill HD. He's a YouTuber that brings information and news, almost like a podcast, but he talks about more news related to the games industry. Um, on top of the situation now, and to add fuel to the fire, they're facing lawsuits now because of or just bad promotion, lying. Um, and it's probably just going to get worse from here. Their new patch just came out, but apparently it's introduced more bugs on top of what they had. It's fixed stuff, but some people are saying that there's more bugs. Some people are saying no, there's not. There's like a balance now, I guess. But I haven't tested out, so I can't really say. So, on top of the news of the lawsuits, their stock has dropped almost 40%, I think. It's really bad. Like if you look at when a company's stock drops, it's not a really good sign at all. Like if you look at CD Projekt Red, their last 10 years, you can see a steady incline. And then in the year 2015, when The Witcher 3 released, you see the peak. And ever since then, it's been going down, down. And then as soon as Cyberpunk was announced, and then it started going back up. And now it's just straight down. Like it's on a steep decline. I don't know what the stock price is, but dude, you can go out and buy some if you really want to. Like,
If you think they're gonna make a huge comeback, then yeah, go for
yeah,
it. Uh, it's just scary to. I mean, you and I were talking about this video game so much. We've dedicated so much of our content, our podcast content, to this video game, to this game studio. So it just it's just saddening. Even a lot of the developers who are on, um, you know, who are on social media, they've gone out and basically said that I'm sorry, and it almost seems like they're depressed because
yeah.
they had such high expectations for this video game because they're part of it. They put their name on it, and it's unfortunate that you're putting your name on something that let down so many people. So it's just a really brutal, I guess, situation for probably the people who are the leadership in the game studio, but also some of these developers who are also just experiencing a lot of you're trying to deal with the fact that you worked on this video game for 7 or 8 years, and then you have this horrible release, which is supposed to be like, okay, this is the final thing. We released a video game; it's going to be available to everyone. And now it's on console. The CDs are already out. Let's say you don't have a good internet connection, you're really screwed. You have to wait for the update, and how many updates are you going to wait for before your game is actually playable? There's going to be a lot of updates you're going to have to wait for sitting there on your PlayStation 4 when you have a crappy internet connection.
I agree with you. So my recommendation, I think Samir might probably say the exact same thing too, and he would probably agree. Wait, do not buy this game, even if you're on the PC. Wait a few months till you start hearing positive things about the game, and then consider purchasing it, because like we said, it's good. You can get into this game beginning. You start off, that this has a really good potential to be a really, really awesome RPG. Like I am talking about, like this could blow a lot of the RPGs that we played in the past out of the water, like instantly. It's just management and development. Not the I shouldn't say development. I should say the management set the most unrealistic deadlines. And to top this off, Samir, I don't know if you heard the board of directors. People were saying even the developers inside the studio had a falling out, as in like there's a protest going on within CD Projekt where the developers were literally talking to the board about like how they lied so much. They were saying, "Why did you guys like?" I think some of the quotes were like, "Why did you guys um, make a game about corporate exploitation when you're doing the same exact thing?" Like that was literally a quote from a developer. Another one was, "Why were you guys lying about the release dates in April, saying that the game is playable in January when it was not playable?" And basically calling out the board like of the situation. Um, and it's a big mess. It's what I've also read from people on Reddit. I don't know how true this is, but it's from comments. They were people saying that The Witcher 1, Witcher 2, and even Witcher 3, but the two Witcher games before that, they had really bad releases. Like they had massive
Mhm.
bugs, massive issues, just like this. But this Cyberpunk is on a whole nother level. Like I don't know how to explain it.
This is the glitchiest game that I've ever played. I think you might agree with that. A
Yeah,
lot of people are just sort of saying it. Like this is the glitchiest game, especially for a AAA game.
yeah.
Like the level of glitches, the randomness of these glitches is amazing. like the content this video game has single handedly created on YouTube, the most hilarious content I've seen. I think this year.
Yeah.
It's just like, unexpected. Like, okay, you see cars like just randomly flipping around. I experienced that a few times. Where it's just like I'm just like walking around randomly in the city, and then I just see a car flying over me. Like, what the heck just happened in another part of the city for this car to just
Yeah.
fly through?
Man, remembered another glitch that just happened. Thanks for mentioning the car flipping. I've had so many like random, like scary moments, I would say, when I'm just walking around the city. And I've seen cars just explode out of nowhere. Like they just explode. And I have no idea why. There's sometimes, like I can hear a car in the distance, like behind a building or like on another block, you can hear it just explode. Um, and I'm just like, that's kind of cool, I guess. I'd be like, probably fighting, there's a lot of dynamic
or,
things going
or
on.
like you're walking around and then somebody jumps off a building and they just committed suicide in front of you. You're like, what
Yeah,
just
like
happened? Like, was that
what the hell
intentional?
just
Was that a
happened?
bug? If that's intentional, that's like amazing. Like, some of these like I don't like. I feel like the glitches are such that you're just gonna go with like, yeah,
Yeah.
we meant to do that from the beginning. Like, are you
Yeah, it's
sure?
like, yeah, we put that in here just because it's not, that
That was
wasn't
a
a bug,
feature.
guys. That's intentional. Um,
It's
and
hard to say with some of this stuff, and it's
true.
the memes. I think are such that the memes are out of control with this video game. So like,
Yes,
even if they fix it, the memes are still going to be around. Okay, and
very long.
anytime another video game studio has the same disastrous release that Cyberpunk has or has major issues, these memes are going to come right back up.
Yeah,
So I'm looking forward to that.
100% agree with you on that. Um, Now I think Samir, do you have anything else to add on to Cyberpunk and CD Project at the moment?
No, I think we talked about them
Yeah.
for quite a long time. That was going to be the emphasis of our podcast episode, but we just have a few more things that we want to hit on.
Yep.
Just quick things. Some of you want to get into the EA.
Yes. So actually, coming right off a company going in the wrong direction, another one is kind of, it's not wrong direction. It's more of like a studio wars. So Electronic Arts purchased Codemasters. If you guys don't know, Codemasters is the publisher, or not the publisher, the developer for all the racing games that you probably play, like Dirt. I don't know what other game was there. Like I know they play. Was it just Dirt? I think that's what they're known for. That's what a lot of people play is Dirt, which is the
Yeah, like a
most.
lot of these racing games,
Yeah.
you can look them up.
And the thing was, leading up to the purchase, before EA bought them, Take Two was going to buy them, and Take Two went out of their way to say, yes, we're buying Codemasters. So when any major company makes another transaction or to acquire another company, they do a statement where like, yes, we're going to probably purchase it. This is the same thing that Microsoft did with Bethesda. They I think even in a podcast, I remember Phil Spencer, who's the head of the Xbox division, he said we go out of the way to say our intent, and then it happens after a couple months. It doesn't happen immediately. So Take
Hmm.
Two did the same thing. They're like, yes, we're looking to buy Codemasters, and this is a thing. And couple weeks go by, they're about to purchase it, and here comes EA underneath, sweeps up Codemasters. They give them a nice little fat $1.2 billion, and they undercut them. Um, and I guess it might be a good thing because I don't know. I mean, EA has Need for Speed, and now they have Dirt. It's probably going to be another studio that's underneath them that will eventually get like the life suck out of them, like a lot of EA studios have. Not to mention, another tidbit about this. I believe, if I hope I'm not wrong, but I think this was the situation. Codemasters was previously a part of another studio, and I think it was Electronic Arts originally, and they hated them, and so they broke off, and now they're going back because of that fat check, the 1.2 billion.
Hmm.
So who knows?
Yeah, I think we're going to see about this. If they didn't have microtransactions before in their video games, then I think that I strongly believe that those will be introduced swiftly into successful releases.
Yes, I agree. Um, and so
Next topic.
yeah. Uh, so as you all know, Samir and I have talked about this on our last podcast. He mentioned I should play Control, and I ended up getting Control, playing it, liking it a lot, beating the game. Um, and Sam
If you
Lake,
haven't checked it out, definitely check it out.
yep,
Control the video game.
yes,
It's a
who
good video game.
the developer is Remedy Entertainment. And I believe the scriptwriter and director, if you guys know, Max Payne, not the new Max Payne, not Max Payne from Max Payne 3, the original Max Payne, the guy that has like a really PNG looking face where they just pasted his face on the thing. Yeah, I did not know this, by the way, but that guy actually works at Remedy Entertainment. That's Max Payne, like the guy that originally wrote Max Payne and everything. That's Sam Lake, and he is working at Remedy Entertainment, and he has teased the script is done for their next game. So that's another thing we wanted to add in here because I'm looking forward to playing their next game because Control was awesome. And they don't, if you guys know, Remedy doesn't really make sequels. They kind of like have a tied universe together. Like Alan
Mm.
Wake is slightly connected to Control, and like they're not like they're in the same universe, but they're like not like the same story. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Samir probably is on the same boat. I mean, Control was good about the except about like the whole line situation that happened with the was it the PS5 version upgrade that they said that they can't go back on or whatever. I remember we talked about that. Um
Yeah, we briefly talked about that. Visit, our YouTube channel, and you can see one of
yeah.
our old podcast episodes about that.
Yep.
It. I want to make sure we tame our expectations, with this next video game,
Mhm.
because if CD Projekt Red has taught us anything, do not overhype these games. Do not set up high expectations because you can only get let down.
See, and part of the problem with that was I know we're backtracking onto the CD project, but like it has to do with the marketing team, like and like
Hmm.
the PR. Do not hype up your game like that unless
Just be
you
transparent.
know.
Don't oversell.
Yeah, do not oversell your game, um, because you can
I
get.
think that was the issue with Fallout 76. That was the issue with it.
I
I think the leadership was saying you're gonna have this feature, that feature, and then developers like they're hearing it for the first time, like, oh, what? We're gonna have that? Okay.
yeah.
I think even No Man's Sky might have had some of those issues, but that's a way smaller video game studio. So
Mhm.
if that was ever said, then they could swiftly deal with it. And I think the leadership there was like, we're not going to do it now. We're going to eventually get to it. The release was different in the sense that didn't. I don't think No Man's Sky had this level of glitches on a release. So
Yes.
at least it was like functioning as intended, which is the key. Yeah, it might not have all the features that you had, initially got advertised, but it was functioning as intended.
Yep. Um, and our second to last topic is G4 TV. Samir, you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, so have you guys heard of G4 TV? So back in the day, they had this video game TV channel that was absolutely amazing. It had, the original, Ninja Warrior. So the original runs in Japanese Ninja Warrior, and then they run before the American Ninja Warrior became really popular. So they had that. They had Attack of the Show. They had X Play. They had Cheat. They had these amazing. They had reruns of Cops. They had all these amazing different shows. And if you're a gamer, who used to have Game Informer and all that stuff, and in that era of video gaming, you know about G4 TV. Actually, a few weeks ago, they had a reunion. It was like a Thanksgiving reunion, and they had Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb, Kevin Pereira, Olivia Munn, and Kristen Adams. So definitely check them out on YouTube. The highlight of the story is that they are planning a reboot of G4 TV in 2021. All you got to do is check out g4tv.com and you'll get more information. It's happening some point in 2021. We don't have information right now on who the staff is going to be, the casters, or what channels they're going to have. Are they going to bring back X-Play? Are they going to bring back these shows that everyone loved? And who's going to be starring in the show? That's still an open question.
Yep.
But it is something that's very interesting. I'm curious to see how they're going to get with the times. Really to take it to modern. But one could. I think a lot of people really praise G4 TV because they're really ahead of their time. The stuff we're seeing now on YouTube with a lot of popular YouTube channels, G4 TV was doing that way before before that time. So
Early
it's just
2000s.
amazing to see, and it's very exciting. gonna be
Yeah.
really nostalgic.
Yeah. Piggyback off of what you said, yeah, G4 TV paved the way like for a lot of the stuff that we see today. They're like the OG. And I'm assuming a lot of you guys might actually have already seen parts of G4 TV skits and stuff and memes probably today because it's still around. Um, if you guys know Olivia Munn, she's pretty famous now. But all these people, they're like they're probably doing their own thing now, but I'm assuming from what we watched and what I saw in the YouTube like reunion, they all might be coming back in some shape or form to the show, um, which is very cool. Because my favorite G4 TV like show was Cheat with Kristen Adams, and I was telling Samir this when they did the reunion. I didn't know Kristen Adams. She at that moment was the person that was on Cheat. She looked a lot different. Like I don't know why, but when they did the then and now, like at the very end, I was like, holy shit, dude, that's actually her. Because every day after school, I'd come home, do my homework, and at like 6 p.m. when G4 TV, like I'd turn it on to watch Cheat, just so I could see the cheat codes in the games for the games that I was probably going to end up playing later on and write them down so I could have them. So it was awesome. It was a good bit of nostalgia too. So that was very cool. And I'm definitely looking forward to G4 TV coming back. Um, and I think Samir as well. I know he was the one that actually messaged me to the reunion thing. I didn't even know what happened, and so I took a watch at it yesterday. So yeah, G4 TV is coming back, guys.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna be a digital first network.
yep,
So we're gonna see. I think it might. I guess they're partnering with Comcast. So if you have Comcast, TV, that I think you would get it, which is really exciting. Definitely check out their website for more information. I think they're slowly but surely, going into next year, going to release a lot more information.
yep. And last but not least, I want to we decided to end the show on a happy like good note. And I just want to say that this year sucked. Like there was a lot of crappy things that happened. I think Samir, can attest to that and agree with me on that. And we all, I think everyone in some shape or form suffered from the pandemic, the situation that's going on, all the stuff in the world. And the one good thing in for Samir and I is probably being around family and friends, but also the video games we love to play. And since people typically do this, we wanted to talk about our personal game of the years. Samir, I'll let you take it from here and what your game of the year is.
I mean, of course, the troll pick has to be Cyberpunk 2077. Definitely the most hilarious release ever. But on a more serious note, I think for me, my favorite game of 2020 was Control. Even though it was released in 2019, I played it in 2020, and that was a game that I enjoyed the most personally. Even though the gunplay might have been a little bit lacking, the diversity of weapons that are really effective in the video game for you to beat the game, I still enjoyed the mechanics, the story, and just a lot of the other gameplay elements. My playthrough was amazing, and it was a very memorable game.
Awesome. I agree with you. I think Cyberpunk 2077 was the best game. Um, actually, all memes aside, uh, that game was probably going to be most likely both of our game of the years. But after the whole situation and us playing through it and like all this stuff that we just
The
talked about,
response of the game studio, yeah.
yeah, man, it went straight down to the bottom of my like list of like don't touch for a very long time and don't play it right now. And definitely not game of the year for me. So personally, the most fun I had this year, and I love going back to, is Doom Eternal. That game, amazing soundtrack, amazing gameplay, gunplay, everything. I also love like this is gonna sound really weird, but like I love gory games, and that game just hits the spot, man. Like, I love Doom 2016 when they rebooted it. I love the whole aspect of like the remake and like what they did and their own take on it. And now, Hugo Martin and Marty Stratton, I think those are the new directors for like the two recent Doom games at id. um they decided with Doom Eternal, we're making a homage to the old game. So like all the stuff that you see in the game at the moment is the sprites and stuff are just recreated versions of those 3D images in this game, and all the pickup items and the way you play it. You know, you're this powerful Doom Slayer, and like Doom 2016, the idea was the demons are stuck in a room with the Doomslayer. Now it felt like the opposite with this one, and I love that. I like the challenge that the game brought. I also tried to play it on Nightmare, which didn't work out well, or Ultra Nightmare. I did beat the game on Nightmare, but to top it off, man, this game, the soundtrack, the gunplay, everything, and the hours I spent in it, dude, it was my game of the year, and I wasn't expecting it to be my game of the year. I thought Last of Us Part 2 might be, or Ghost of Tsushima. Those are great games. It's just I'm starting to realize, like, in my opinion, I feel like a game of the year should be a game that makes you want to come back to it and play it more and more.
Mm.
And Doom Eternal did that for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's really good to hear. I need to finish the video game when I have some more time on my hands.
Oh, dude, you
But
definitely should
that's
finish
really
it.
awesome to hear.
Um, but yeah, I think. Do you have any other topics to add on, Samir, before we end?
No, I don't. I appreciate you guys watching. Hit us up with a follow or check out our YouTube channel
Yep.
if you want to hear more of our content. Like I said, this is still like a work in progress for us. We're continuously learning, trying to experiment. Did you finish Dark Souls yet?
Oh man, Saturn boys, we're gonna finish it. Don't worry. Uh, to give you guys some feedback or some context on that. Um, I played Dark Souls 1 for the first time remastered, like for like 40 hours, like in like 2ish weeks. Like maybe a month ago before Cyberpunk came out, just because I wanted to play, a challenging game. Dark Souls, those games are very challenging, definitely are. Um, and I got to the Four Kings and I just stopped there. I don't know if you played them, Samir. But
I haven't played the first one, but I played the
okay,
third one, and then I beat Bloodborne.
dude, I'm telling you, get the remaster if you get a chance and play it. And if you need
Mm.
help, let me know because I can try and get in the game with you and help you. But I got to the Four Kings and I stopped, and I gave myself like a good break, and then I ended up going to Dark Souls 3 because we wanted to play the DLCs. Played that, and then Cyberpunk came out, and so I haven't gone back to Dark Souls. So I'm gonna end up finishing it probably over the break. We're probably gonna see what happens. I know I have a long way to go in the game still, but I'm looking forward to finishing Dark Souls as well. Um, maybe technically a game of the year can be classified as any game you played in that year, I could say. And maybe next year, if no good game comes out and Cyberpunk doesn't reach its potential, um, Dark Souls Remastered could be my potential game of the year. So we'll see. But yeah,
You gotta play it on PlayStation 5 though,
yes, I want to
or
play.
was that Demon Souls? It was Demon Souls remaster.
That's
Never mind.
Demon Souls. Now, Eric.
Okay.
Okay, Aaron Hentai says I need to finish Yakuza. So that's another game. I think everyone here is going to tell me that I need to finish games that I haven't finished yet. Yeah. So Yakuza, guys, I've actually played. I started the Yakuza series. I've only played the first one. I haven't finished it yet. I played some of it yesterday. It's just a game that I can keep. Well, it's not keep going back to. I think I keep getting my immersion broken, and the reason I say this is I'm busy with school and I get busy with projects, and there's some periods where I can't play games for a little bit, and so I end up coming back, and um, you know, I try to play the game, but then I'm like, what the hell was going on? And Yakuza is a heavily story based game, and I'm not gonna say I don't like it. I enjoy it a lot. It's a very interesting story, and you guys all know. I think I told you that I just recently got an anime, and Japanese games. So like Yakuza was a very interesting game to play so far. Um, I like how everyone's coming in here telling me to finish games. Saturn boys, you need to finish. You need to finish Terraria with me. Don't tell me I need to finish it, bro. I've been asking you to play it. Uh, I'm not playing Minecraft. And yes, I'm definitely gonna be finishing the games because school's done now. But I also have other stuff that I need to do first. So there's a lot of time for games, and I'm looking forward to playing all the games I can play. We'll play. Okay, here's the thing: if you guys want to play Minecraft, then we can play Minecraft. But I'm not playing that game on my own on like the hard mode. So, um, yo, I wanted to try Near Automata out, so I started it before we did the Samir. So I wanted to see what this game, and it's good. It's very good. Um, you finished Cyberpunk. Don't tell me to finish Cyberpunk. But yes, I know you guys can keep telling me to finish games. You can tell me to do whatever you want, and I know that we're probably at the end here. So, Samir, any last minute words?
No, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Like I said, hit us up on YouTube, or follow us here on Twitch, and stay tuned for our next episode.
Yeah, I
Peace.
so we will see you guys probably sometime next month, and we definitely look forward to sharing another, hopefully positive news, more positive next month sometime. And so we'll see you all in 2021. Have a good Christmas, a happy New Year, or whatever you guys celebrate. Stay safe, stay happy, play a lot of games, and have a good one, guys.
Okay.